What is Curt Cignetti like in a pre-broadcast meeting, Chris?
Fascinating, man. I got to know him in the run-up to the Heisman. I'd never met him before. And we did a Zoom talking about Mendoza and talking about ball and talking about their season and then obviously covering them in the Rose Bowl, where you have a little more time than most games to hang around and get to know him. He sits in the room, and it's a very interesting presence, which wouldn't be a surprise, seeing his press conferences and his interviews, but he'll look you right in the eye. He told us, not in regard to judging us, but in judging other people, recruits, coaches, that he can usually tell within 45 seconds or a minute exactly what someone is about through the look in their eye, their posture, their demeanor. So you feel challenged when you're with him to make sure that he understands that you're all in, you're attentive, you're paying attention, you're feeling the vibe. But I like that. I like disruptors. I like guys who have swag and bravado. But he's also a no-nonsense guy. You're talking a few minutes ago about the comparisons to Saban are very real. Not an achievement, because nobody's going to do what Nick did. Let's not get carried away. Cignetti's he's older than me. He's not going to win 6 more championships. But I think the way he goes about his business, the way he pushes his team's buttons is masterful, and the way that he judges talent and assembles a roster. Now, having said that, when Kirk and I said at the end of the game, Rich, and I don't know if you're going to ask this or not, but we said Indiana's not going anywhere. You talked about Mark Cuban, who was singing along to Hurt So Good last night in the commercial break, which I thought was funny.
Right.
Having a good time. It doesn't mean you can do this again and again, okay? You have to get a lot of things aligned. Mendoza's not going to be there. They're bringing in Josh Hoover from TCU, good quarterback. I'm sure they'll coach and develop him extremely well. But so many of the pieces, so many of those 24, 25-year-olds that came from JMU and other places, they're at their 3rd or 4th school, they're not going to be there. So you really have to put that plan in place. And he's got a great plan, but there are no guarantees Indiana's going to be running through the Big Ten and get back in the bracket and be there when the confetti falls again. I think their fans probably realize that.
So then let's linger in the current achievement a little bit more, Chris Fowler, because you're the perfect guy to ask about this. Been there, done that, been around, and also sat next to somebody named Lee Corso, former Indiana coach forever and a day. And this photograph popped in my timeline yesterday. It's a photograph of somebody who took this snapshot moments before Curt Cignetti's first game as head coach in Indiana in Memorial Stadium. For those listening on radio, good seats still available. And you were there last night for what appeared to be a partisan Indiana crowd in the home of the Hurricanes. Can you put in perspective for people what this achievement is, Chris?
A bunch of loyal, starving fans who had waited decades, that many told us it felt like a dream of a dream to even be in the Rose Bowl, even be in the bracket, but then to dominate Alabama, dominate Oregon, and they really took over Atlanta, as you know. There was about 95-5 crowd division. The Ducks fans showed up, but they were disappointed very early. And then last night in the Hurricanes' home stadium, there was an Indiana crowd edge. They were vocal. They made it hard on Miami's offense in their own stadium to operate late in the game.
Yeah, you pointed that out on a false start prior to what was the final moments, Chris. No doubt.
And the crowd did that. The crowd, Indiana crowd did. I think they're euphoric. I mean, they're so appreciative. They've watched everybody else in the Big Ten kick them around for decades. No one in Indiana is old enough to really remember the glory days. I mean, you pointed out Lee Corso brought them their first postseason win. And before this season, they had a grand total of 3 postseason wins in 100 and some years. They had 3 this season, all against top teams. Wow.
I know. And it does give, I guess, a message that it could be done, if not, again, at Indiana next year, but elsewhere. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app, 12 to 3 Eastern.